we're moving on to Vocalytics.
All right, hey guys, I just want to make sure you can hear me just fine.
Sounds great.
Excellent, thanks so much, Asher. So it's interesting, we're living in a time where it's never been possible to understand the world around us. Sound is literally all around us, but we've never been able to hear the nuances that dictate life and death. We're also living in a time where it's finally possible to truly listen, analyze, and act upon these critical acoustic moments. Care gaps of at-risk individuals, and this is the next slide, with chronic conditions like COPD and asthma create trillions in health costs annually and put lives on the line. Emergency services painfully cost more than $30 billion annually, and more than $100 billion is spent on vital physical world security every year. Health, safety, and security are massive problems facing a challenging new world today. Next slide. I'm Van, founder and CEO of Vocalytics, where we turn dumb noise into intelligent sound. Next slide. Unlike traditional systems that are cumbersome and require user engagement, we built a passive listening platform that requires no interaction from the user and autonomously alerts for critical action at scale. Next slide. Techstars backed. Our team is made of experts across business, AI, ML, and data science. We're also joined by the founding Chief Innovation Officer of the VA and other leading experts. Next slide. Vocalytics empowers essential enterprises to listen, understand, and act proactively on these critical moments. Our lightweight ambient machine listening platform is reinventing healthcare delivery, improving safety operations, and also augmenting situational intelligence. Vocalytics passively improves decision-making in real time to save lives. Next slide. In today's pandemic-driven world, sound technology is finally able to provide actionable intelligence to further humanity. Next slide. Plug and play, we work with any connected microphone infrastructure and process more than 500 unique sound classifications. Next slide. And if you don't have one, we have a tiny discrete acoustic sensor for you. We are acoustic ambient intelligence. Next slide. With powerful machine listening software, proprietary lightweight hardware, and robust, flexible APIs, Vocalytics enables your enterprise to listen with intent. Next slide. Enterprise SaaS, we charge our clients a one-time deployment with an annual subscription. Next slide. In under a year, we've been able to establish ourselves as a game changer across industry. In the DoD, we won our initial phase 1 SBIR with AFWERX in 2020, and currently submitting for our phase 2. I think you went forward a slide. Techstars is a fantastic partner and a customer as we keep their offices safe during these trying times. With active deployments and early revenue, several executed LOIs, and an engaged top-tier pipeline, we're well positioned and just getting started. Privacy first, Vocalytics only listens for specific sound profiles in a given environment while processing and anonymizing everything on the edge. Next slide. So let's get the conversation started. We're just opening our seed rounds and seeking DoD end users interested in revolutionizing intelligence with sound. We're ready to listen for you. Thank you.
All right, excellent, Van. Let's open up the floor to the panelist questions.
Great job, Van. Thanks for pitching. I'm curious about the competition in this market and where you guys fit in within the landscape.
Yeah, great question. And I appreciate you asking that, honestly. There's a handful of competitors in this space when it comes down to sound intelligence. Most are focused on smart speaker applications like Amazon Alexa and the Google Dots of the world, where it's more conversational. All of their processing is done in the cloud. None of it's actually really done locally. where all of ours is done completely on the edge, on the actual device. As an example, here's a case of AirPods, and here's our little unit. Though we're software only, we've developed this little widget if you don't have a listening post. So in terms of competition, Amazon Alexa's got 15,000 engineers. It's easy to consider them competition or a great partnership for us, along with a handful of others.
Awesome, thank you. You just set off all the Alexas everywhere, but great, thank you.
Hey, Van, thanks for the presentation, and definitely a lot of innovation in this space right now. How do you think about battery consumption for all these always on, always listening types of devices? The widget that you showed looks pretty small. I'm wondering how much battery life you get out of that, and how much drain do you cause on any other sort of listening device to go for dog barks, glass breaks, baby crying, and things like that, like you mentioned.
Yeah, so we actually focus on tiny ML processing 100% on the edge. So we can process all of our insights completely offline inside that tiny little widget that you just saw. So in terms of battery life, power consumption, all of that, it's incredibly lightweight as our models detect it's about 527 different unique sound profiles. We're not going to alert for every single dog bark, every single glass breaking incident, as it may have come from a TV or another sound source. We actually source the localization within the given environment to understand, is this a digital signal or is this a physical world sound that's occurring in that environment? So, in essence, we're only listening for distinct sound profiles that we've established with our end customers. So if we're listening for health-related sounds, we have about 25 different sounds within that group that are everything from the clearing of the throat to coughing to wheezing to heavy breathing, and similar sounds like laughing that can all sound very similar in effect within the waveform. We actually focus on all-day battery life from a single unit, like that tiny little sensor. But typically we have an always-on plugged-in listening post for any connected microphone device. So it could be a CCTV camera that's already hardwired and connected for base defense. We're just enabling that connected microphone, any smart speaker, or for wearable technologies in the future as well.
Great,
this is a pretty interesting technology, and I have a couple questions. One is, are you guys doing anything related to the geospatial analytics of the background noise, or is it purely reliant on where the device is located? And secondly, are you looking at basically providing more upstream analytics support to it, or is your game more around tagging and managing the data itself so that other people can do more analytics on the data itself?
Great questions. To kind of unpack those one at a time. So in terms of geospatial, our little widget has 4 embedded microphones. It's an omnidirectional microarray. So we can essentially sense from a gunshot detection perspective, not only classifying the weapon type between this is a pistol that could be concealed like a handgun or an assault rifle, and actually classifying the weapon type, but actually the directionality and distance from that actual device as well. So in terms of geospatial, we do some of that. We're getting a little deeper into that part of the technology. There's certain limitations around a single microphone, like in a CCTV system, versus what you can actually provide, the level of depth and analytics, what we can provide from our actual unit or an omnidirectional mic system like we have. In terms of distance and in terms of directionality. However, even from a CCTV camera that's just got an embedded mic and we're suddenly lighting it up to provide intelligence, we can still classify the weapon type and give you a sense of how far away it came from. Does that help to frame that?
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
We have time for one short question.
So this is Reese. Quick question, Van. From the public safety standpoint, can you kind of develop a profile of people by listening to conversation that's going on using this device?
It is possible leveraging vocal biomarkers and not even just this device, but any specific microphone enabled device with our software enabled. We can specifically do that. We typically opt out of similar projects like that just due to privacy concerns, more or less. When you're uniquely identifying a user to ensure that the PII, PHI, PMI, any sounds or medical events around a given vocal biomarker within a unique environment those do tend to tread a little bit into PII, PHI, PMI, HIPAA, high trust, and whatnot realms. But absolutely, we can uniquely identify the user. We just don't typically have our customers do so.
Wonderful. Van from Vocalytics AI, excellent, really interesting technology.